Hi viewers and our friends of this channel. Welcome to another exciting session on making you all industry level software developers. So as usual, the most important question first. Are you ready to become industry level software developers? Yes, good, awesome guys, awesome. That's what we want in this channel. So okay guys, let's do it. The lesson name is Adaptive UI Lesson 2D Intro and Simple Practical Making Apps Adaptive. We'll be using Xcode version 11.4.1 for practicals and Apple developer docs for referencing, right? So let's start with this. So the most important thing is this is lesson 2D, right? Which means you have to make sure that before you look into this, you have to finish lesson 1 and then lesson 2A, 2B, 2C under adaptive UI development in this channel, right? So make sure you look at them before you look into this. So in this session, we will continue to learn more about adaptive design. We'll be completing more experiments with StackView. You will be learning that UI StackView is a non-rendering subclass of UI view, and you will be looking at adding background color for UI StackView, and you will figure out how you do it is by embedding it inside the UI view and adding further constraints and improving the simple employee form and the practical code examples, right? Okay, cool. Let's move with this now, right? So let's go and do the practical now. So what I would want to do is I want to continue the same practical which we did in lesson 2C, right? So I need to get that practical in lesson 2C, which is this one, right? So I'm going to take a copy of it, right? Paste it, and then I'm going to rename it as lesson 2D, right? Okay, so we are going to improve that, right? Let me open this now, right? So file, open. Okay guys, we'll be doing it fast, right? So let's let's 2D, right? Yeah, 2D, right? And then it's a copy of the lesson 2C. That's why I see it, right? So I will take it, then I will rename this into lesson 2D, right? All good. Okay, rename. Okay, right? Good. Okay guys, so then let's expand this. Let's look at where we are, and as the first thing, let's run and see to see where we sit, right? So this is the previous, this is where we stopped in lesson 2C, right? Make sure you look at them before you do this, for sure, right? You have to make sure. So I'm running it on the iPad Pro. Okay, so this is where we were, right? Okay, let's run this on the iPhone 11, my friends, right? Guys, you are going to become software engineers, software developers very soon, right? This channel is going to help you, right? So you should be happy, right? Okay, awesome. So this is where we are, my friends. So we are we were here, right? So few things, if you remember from the last lesson 2C, I made this text field is an intrinsic view component, but I made it to fixed size. So I'm going to take out that. So I'm going to remove that first. So you remember this, I made it into a fixed width of 100. So I'm going to select it and delete, right? Press the delete key, it will delete that. See, yeah, it went off. So now it's back intrinsic, right? So which means when I run this, right? When I run this, yeah, so and if I keep on entering some larger address, right? So something, so it gets, so I want to stop this behavior now. There's one thing I want to do in this, right? And the other thing is I would like to have a background color for the stack view, right? So let's try to do two things. First, I would like to have a background color, so I can, like a background color. And then the second thing is I want to stop this behavior. Okay, my friends, right? Okay, guys. So to put a background color, I'm just trying to click on the stack view, right? Okay, stack view, and I'm looking at the attribute inspector, and I can see a background option, right? So let's try to put a background color. What do you like? Okay, let's try to put, my friends, how about something like this, gray color, yeah. Okay, I'm putting it, right? You see I'm putting it, but I don't see any change, right? Because for example, if I change the background color of a button, let us say if I click on this button, let's say if I change the background color, right, of the button. Okay, so the button, right? So click on the button, and if I try to change the background color, it works. See, it changes. So for a button, I can click and I can select and it works. But why, the question is why it didn't work for the stack view, right? So look at the stack view. If I click on the stack view, I click here and I've given the background color. See, let's give a different color. No, let's run and see, right? Let's run and see, my friends, right? So let's run to see whether I should get the green color background for the stack view. No, I'm not getting, right? So what's the reason behind this, right? So let's look at the API, right? Your first you need to be you are going to be developers, right? So you need to get familiar with the API. So you have noticed that this channel is different, this channel is unique, this channel is targeting to make you software developers in a short period of time. So if you search on Google for Apple API, say UI stack view, because what you have put is basically a UI stack view component, right? So it's a stack view, meaning it's a UI stack view, right? So I added stack views, if you remember. So if I say stack view, right, I got a horizontal stack view, right? So if you look at the description, it's a UI stack view. Look here, right? It's a UI stack view. Vertical stack view, it's a what? UI stack view, guys, right? So it's a UI stack view. So if I look at the UI stack view API, right? If I look at Apple developer documents for UI stack view, right? If you read it, you will see it's a class. It's streamlined interface for laying out a collection of views. See, it's for laying out a collection of views. What is this collection of views? We have already done it. So when you say laying out a collection of views, it is, so see, this stack view is you laying out some other views. Even a label is a UI view. So if I, for example, if I and a text box. So if I look at this, if I look at a text field, right, it's a UI if you look at UI text field, it's a UI view component, right? So it is a UI view. So if you look at let's see a few things. Give me a second. So if you look at this, guys, I just opened the docs now. See, when you read about the stack view, so a few things very quickly. So a stack view, it's for laying out a collection of views, right? What is a collection of views? So if you look at the practical, as I said, this inside your main stack view, you have labels and stuff. They are views. How do you know whether they are views? So if you look at the UI text field, if you go to the UI text field API, right? Let me take you here. So UI text field is a class. So that's what you have put here, right? A UI text field, right? But UI text field's parent class is UI control, right? So if you look at, if you go to that UI control, okay, UI text field's parent is UI control. The UI control's parent is UI view, which means the UI text field is a UI view, right? So which means it's a collection of views. So a stack view has is laying collection of views, right? Very important, right? So that just to show you, a few things. And then if you look at stack view, it gives a description about stack view, if using it in auto layout. So this is very important, guys. If you want to be a developer, it's very important for you to go and refer these documents, right? That's what we are doing. That's why this channel is different, right? We are making you think like real developers, right? And that's because this channel is taught by real developers, right? So you are being taught by real software engineers who have been in the industry for more than 20 years, right? So we have been in the industry for more than 20 years as software engineers and lecturers. So you are getting that exposure, guys, right? So now if you go down, so we know how developers are working, because that's part of our life, right? So that's what we are giving to you, right? So if you read this about the stack view, right? Yeah, UI stack view. So see, when you see managing the stack view's appearance, this says UI stack view is a non-rendering subclass, right? What does that mean? That is, it does not provide any user interface. So now you figure out why when you put green color to the stack view, it's not appearing, because it's a non-rendering subclass of UI view. That means it does not provide a user interface. Instead, it just manage the position and size of arranged views. So it's for just arranging the other views. As a result, some properties like background color have no effect. Now you understand why you didn't get the green color. But the most important thing is not that. So what we are doing is we are showing you how to figure out things. We are not just telling you, okay guys, for the stack view you can't put a background color. If we stop like that, we can't make you a developer, right? The objective of this channel is to make you real developers, right? So if you want to be a real developer in a short time, you need to figure out things like this. That is why in this channel we don't stop telling, okay, a stack view you can't put a background color, but instead of that we go to the next level and say this is the reason why you can't put a background color. And we don't stop from that. We take you we deep into the developer documents, right? API documents, right? So that is what is missing, that is that is what is missing, and that's what we are giving to you, and that's why this is very special, right? So um, so it's something really nice for you. And make sure you, if you are thinking of the future of being a developer, it's very important to work on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT data science. So just look at keep an eye on this channel for you to be the first to know when videos are released about artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? Okay, so now you know why you can't put a background color, right? So then what's the solution? So if you read more, if you read some documents, if you do a Google search, you will see one solution of giving a background color for a stack view is to embed it. That's what we have mentioned. That's what we mentioned here. Okay, so that's what we mentioned here, is to embed that the stack view. Your stack view is a non-rendering subclass. So if you want to add background, basically you have to embed that inside the UI view, right? So you have to embed the UI stack view inside the UI view, because the UI view is a rendering component, right? So meaning a UI view, you can give a background color, right? Because you can render it, right? So that is what you have to do. You have to embed the UI stack view into UI view. That's one way of doing it. So what it means is this. First of all, I can't give a background color, so I will just leave it. It doesn't work, right? So what I have to do is I have to add another UI view, right? So let me go to the library and say a view, right? Just a view. So I got a couple of views, like table view, text view, scroll view, right? So I just wanted just a UI view component, right? Just a UI view, right? So and then where should I drag this? So I'm going to drag this into just above the stack view, right? I'm dragging it just above the stack view, right? Just above, right? I released it, right? Just released it. So okay, now this is what I added, but just see how even without you noticing, all of your components, even your stack view and everything has been inside a view, guys. So that is how. So this is what we call as the navigation hierarchy, right, of the views. So in your view controller, without you noticing, you had a view. Inside that view only you had all these, right? So that is a way of arranging components, guys, right? So what I did now is I added another UI view, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the stack view a child of that view, right? So the whole purpose is to give a background color. So how to make it a child? I have to align it, indent it to be a child. So I have to drag this stack view and see the indent. So this is like this. I need to, not that, just see how I'm aligned. Yeah, that got indented, which means now it's going to be a child of the view. So when I release it, now the stack view became a child of the view, right? So now if I want, I can give a background color to the view. So if I click the view, right, guys, and let us say if on the view, just click on the view, right, then you can render it, right? So a view. So if you give a background color, let us say I would like system gray color, right? So see, it works, right? Now I got a background color. So I would like to run and see, just just for the curiosity, I'd like to run this and see what sort of thing I'm going to see here, right? Okay, let's see, right? Let's see what's coming. So I can see something. Now I need to adjust this, right, and correct this, right? So what I have to do is now I have to give the constraints to the stack view so that that stack view aligns with the view, right? So I want it to get aligned with the view, right? So what I would do is I would add constraints. So auto layout constraints. So basically what I'm going to do is when I click on stack view, and if I look at its current constraints, I don't see any constraint at the moment, right? I don't see any constraint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this stack view I'm going to click this, right, and I'm going to drag it, guys, control drag. So I can do it from the navigation hierarchy, because now it's a bit complex to touch here, because I might touch something else, because now I got a view, then I got a stack view, on top of that I got some labels. So rather than touching here, I can play with the navigation hierarchy, right, view hierarchy. So what I'm doing is I'm clicking here and control dragging it in from, you see a tiny control drag into the view, right? So it's same. Then I can say, okay, I want to say, okay, leading space to the container. So the stack view is in a view which is the container. So leading space to the container, right? So I'm giving some space, right? So it gives some space. Let's see what's happening. Then again I'm clicking on the stack view and again dragging it, and I'm telling, okay, trailing space and the top space and the bottom space. So I'm aligning it in all four directions to the trailing, right? Then I'm aligning the bottom. So I aligned all four, right? So then I got the four constraints what I added now. Then what I'm doing is I'm giving a value of 0 so that there's no gap, right? So I'm basically aligning. So the leading space, trailing space from the stack view to the view, I'm going to make it a 0, guys, right? So I did it for that. Then let me click on stack view once again, and this likewise. So double click on this. So when I make it 0, you will see something, some important text. See, for the two I did, it says trailing space to the super view. So it's 0. So right. So if I make this also 0, right, and then if I once again click on this and make this 0. So what I did was I aligned, right, the leading, trailing, and all the spaces into the of the stack view into the view. So if I run this now, let's see what's happening. So I'm running it. You are learning a lot of things, friends. You are learning a lot of things, which is awesome, guys. Awesome. So now it's the stack view is embedded in a view which is having a background color, right? Now I have to now add constraints, auto layout constraints to the view, so that the view gets centered and you know that stuff. So what I'm going to do now is click on the view, right, and then drag it and align it, right? And one thing, so I want to make sure that I click on the view, and I'm going to one thing, I'm going to select all this. I just want to bring them a little bit, you know, to a stop. So I'm using the arrow keys. After highlighting and selecting all of them, I'm using arrow keys and just bringing them like close. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select on the view, because now, guys, my stack view is embedded in the view, and I have give constraints from stack view to the view to align the stack view to the view. So they two are aligned. Now my parent component, the container of the stack view, okay, the super view of the stack view, right? The super view of the stack view is the view, right? So stack view is embedded, guys. The stack view is embedded inside the view. So what I have to do now is I have to give auto layout constraints to the view and center it. Then my stack view also will get centered. Then I had to give a leading top space from the view, this particular view, to the label employee window, so that it gets worked out. So what I'm telling is I'm going to control this. I'm giving all auto layout constraint, guys. So I don't like to touch here, because I can touch something else. So it's easy for me to touch from the navigation hierarchy, view hierarchy. Just select the view, drag it to the employee window, guys. See, drag it to the employee window and say you want some horizontal spacing. That means the gap, right? Say that, so you want a horizontal spacing. So you can see now that constraint got added, right? That constraint got added, right? So see the bottom vertical, the horizontal, trailing space, right? It got some value, right? It got some value. Then also what I want to do is click on the view, right? And I want to center it. So I'm just clicking on the view, and I can drag and do things like this. I can see it's up to me now. Give me a sec. So I can, now I want to center the view, right? So I can control drag and move it and click and say, you know, center horizontal. That's one option, right? I have other options. So I didn't click it. Just and show it to you. Click on this, and then, as you know, if you look at our previous lesson, you can add alignments from here. So you can say horizontal, whatever the way, just make it centered, guys. This should work, this should do the trick. So I added some auto layout constraints, and let's see what's happening now, right? Let's see what's happening, right? Okay, I'm seeing something. I can see it got centered, but I don't see that the top space, right? So let's click on the view, and let's look what constraints. So I got a trailing space. Okay, let me see. I got align center. So center is there, right? So trailing, right? So what I do is what are these? Let me check. Let's check, guys, right? Let's check. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. This is where I gave that space. I'm going to remove it first, right? The constraint. I just selected and deleted it, right? And I'm just going to run it without that to see what's the situation once again, right? Okay, and now I need to add that top space, right? So let's do it now. Let's do it. So if you look at this carefully, guys, the problem is when I was adding that space earlier, I added horizontal space, but it should be vertical spacing, isn't it, right? So what I mean is from the view to the label, right? If when I drag it, the mistake I did was when I drag it here, I selected horizontal. No, it's not horizontal, it's vertical, right? So meaning toward this edge, this over here, right? So that's a mistake. It's vertical spacing. That's what the problem was. This should work now, guys. Let's run this. So this should work. It should now, the view should come centered. Awesome, 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 guys. It's working, right? You should be happy, right? So now the view where the stack view is embedded, that the super view, right? It's the super view is now centered and having a gap of that pixels, that number of points, right? So if you look view, and if you look at it, let's say there's a space of 48, right? So if I say make it 50 points, so there will be a gap of 50 points from the label to this view where the stack view is embedded, right? Guys, you all are learning a lot of things, right? You all are learning a lot of things, right? So this is something really nice, right? So now you know how to put a background color to the stack view, right? And let me also do one thing. Let me click on, just expand this. So you have to be careful, because if I click here, I want to click the label text field, but I might click on the stack view, right? So you have to be very careful, right? So I clicked on the text field, and I'm going to remove the background color, right? So I'm going to say system background color, right? So let's click one by one. Awesome, awesome. Now let's run this on iPad, right? iPad, let's run this, my friends. Let's see what's happening. Let's see, right? So this should now come once again. The view should come centered and having a gap of 50 points. Awesome, awesome, my friends. It's working. It's working. And now this has intrinsic view. So if you type, it keeps on moving. But the problem is if you keep on continuously typing, see, it goes beyond the edge. So I want to stop this, right? So how should I stop? Same in the iPhone as well, right? It's same in the iPhone, right? So if I click on the iPhone, and if I run this, my friends, right? Same, right? Now let's try to stop that behavior, right? So same here, right? So now the background color problem is sorted, but we got another problem now. So how to solve this, right? Okay, guys, how to solve this, right? So let's do a couple of things, right? So what I would like to do is I would like to maintain constraints from the edges of the view. Now I'm talking about the view now, because stack view is embedded in a view, right? So now I'm focusing on this view. So I want to have the edges of this view, right, defined, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the view, right? And I'm going to go into constraints, right? At constraints, and I'm going to say I want 30 points from this right edge and the left edge. So it will maintain 30 points from the right and the left in all the devices, right? So now I add the two constraints, right? So now what happens is it will get resized. See, it got resized, and if I run this now, what's happening is it will maintain 30 pixels, 30 points from the two sides, right? Okay, guys. So it's not going to go. It's not going to lose that gap, because it's always going to be 30. So if I add an address now, and if I keep on typing, right, so now I have to solve that one, that employee label, employee address, right, that we will solve, right? So but it's not losing that gap. Can you see, right, the 30 pixels gap? Now let's run this on the iPad, my friends, right? Let's run this on the iPad, right? So start, run, stop. Okay, let's see, right? See, it's maintaining that 30 points gap, right, from the two sides, right? So now this looks something very nice, right? But say if you think this is too much, this gap is too much, let us say for the let's say for the iPad, let us say because of this this gap is 30. Now what has happened is it has stretched the text field, right? It has stretched the text field, right? So if I type something, it has stretched this stretched the text field, right? Now if you think you don't want, and if you want to have a larger gap for iPad, let us say not 30 points, let us say something like 150 points from this side and another 150 points from this side. That's what we are going to discuss in the next video, right, in the next lecture, right? Because that has to do something with uh, the trait system, right, and the size classes, right? So that is where you will need, let us say, now the best example is in this case. Now it's maintaining a 30 pixel of gap because for all the devices, right, from the two sides, but 30 is not enough for this. So because of that, it has stretched. So I want, instead of 30 for iPads, instead of 30 points from the two sides, I want, say, 150 points from the left and the right, so that this will get shrinked, right, and it will look nice. Now the question is, how do you do that? For you to do that, you need to apply the trait system and the size classes, right? That's where you deal with that that trait. That's what the next lecture is, as I said a little while ago, right? Okay. And if I use the command key and the right arrow key and make it portrait landscape, see, it's maintaining the 30 pixel gap in the landscape, and it makes it center. So guys, this is what we call as adaptive interface development. So it's always now maintaining that 30 points from the left and the right towards the edges, right? Awesome, right? Awesome. So even the same, like if I run this on the iPhone, so this is, guys, exactly, this is adaptive development, adaptive UI interface development. So the auto layout constraints are in action now. So even if the orientation of the device is changed, the auto layout constraint triggers and maintains that 30 pixel and dynamically updates everything. See, if I make it onto the landscape mode, it's maintaining the 30 pixels from the two sides, right? So in the safe area, right? Awesome, right? So you are learning a lots of things, my friends. You are learning a lots of things. Okay, my friends, so hope you enjoyed this session, and let's work on the rest of the plan, and let's see what it says next. So you learned this part, right? So we finished adding the background image, and we had further constraints, and we improved, and we did the practical examples. Conclusion. So we learned more about the theory behind the adaptive UI. We started stack views, and then we add more things like, we realized it's a non-rendering subclass of UI view, and we embed it into a view and added the background color. then we add further constraints and we make it look adaptive, right? So then reference was we use Apple Developer Docs. So what's next? Now you have to look at our next videos on adaptive interface, lesson 3, 4 onwards, because we have touched stack views and also we have touched auto layout, but we have not yet touched the trade system. Now the classic example is we will need to have you need to know about the trade system, and then under trade systems we have something called size classes. You need to know that for in order for you to handle this situation. What situation? When you run on the iPhone, as I said earlier, it looks fine, right? On the iPhone, that 30 point gaps from the left and the right looks fine, right? It looks fine, right? It's fine. So what is this 30 thing I'm talking? It's the constraints we placed here, right? So this one, constant value of 30 and constant value of 30, right? The two values. So in other words, if you look here and if you look at the size inspector, you can see it's aligned trailing space 30 and leading space 30, so 30. So that's why now it's going to be applied across all the devices, universal, guys. Which means now if you look at iPad, right, and if you run this, it will still maintain the same 30 point gap from the left and the right, right? See, and even if you landscape it, it maintains that. Now but now it looks a little it's not very nice when you stretch the text box this much, in a iPad. So what I would like is, as I said earlier, I would like to increase this gap instead of 30, like 150 or 200 from the this side, and another 150 or 200 from this side. So then this will shrink a bit and the text box will shrink and it looks nice. So then let's see how to do this in the next lesson, and for that we will be discussing the trade system and size classes. So until we meet in that video, right, I would say bye for you for now, right? Let's meet in that video, my friends. Okay, see you until that.